Mm. Hello, hello. Come on in, come on in, come on in. As you can see the title, it's about how to real talk on how to heal and deal with grief. I'm gonna wait for some more people to come on. Take the time during this time to invite somebody and share this video. I'm just gonna be kind of talking about some real life issues and topics, some stuff that we normally don't get a chance to discuss and jump on. Hey Denise, how you doing? How you doing? How you doing? Thank you for joining. I just want to kind of jump on here and share some important information. Well, not really information, but just kind of talk about some stuff that may be beneficial and helpful to you guys who are dealing with loss, especially in this pandemic season and these triggers and all these different types of emotions, and kind of hopefully give some practical tools on how to get through this. Um, so just hang on. I'm trying to wait, invite some more people in. Go ahead and share this. Hey Rod, I see my brother just joined. Thank y'all for coming in. I really appreciate it. But what I really want to do is come on here this afternoon because I know how I'm feeling. And if I've been struggling a lot lately, the way that I have been, I know that most of you have been too, dealing with isolation, dealing with the fact of being by yourself and can't really reach out to loved ones or feel their touch or feel their embrace and feel their hugs and love. That's very therapeutic and beneficial when you're dealing with loss and grief. So I just want to kind of jump on here and kind of, like I said, give some practical tools and be informative. A lot of times we have a tendency to talk about spiritual stuff, the spiritual side of things, and we give people information as far as keep saying, trust God and talk about your faith, but at the same time, God give us wisdom that we might need to get help and we might need to get go get some checkups and things of that nature. So that's what we're going to be really talking about um, tonight. First and foremost, thank you guys for taking the time to join this. We're going to be talking about undiagnosed PTSD, how grief affects your health. We're going to expose some light. We're going to bring in some light to expose some of those negative feelings and emotions that you might be feeling. Um, we're going to talk about real loss versus imagined loss, how fear comes in and grip you, and the least little thing you can lose. Uh, uh, let's see. I want to make sure I'm saying the right things. You can lose a business relationship. You can lose other relationships, and the person hadn't necessarily transitioned, but it will trigger your loss all over again with losing a child, or losing someone close. So thank you so much for joining. Hey Kay, hey Jamie, thank y'all so much for joining. I'm trying to give some more people some time to come in here. This is very serious, and it's a lot of people, like I keep saying, go, talk about God. Where's your faith? And saying little stuff. At least you have other children to attend to, but it's not that your faith is wavered, or it's not that you don't have faith. You need to know what to do when your faith is tested and tried and you're dealing with child loss. Especially, this is very, very hard, and I just want to come on here and give you guys some more practical tools on how to be informed with what you're dealing with, because God does give us wisdom, and sometimes we spiritualize everything, and really you need to be informed. And God is directing you to get help while you're here in the earth. You can't be so heavenly minded that you know earthly good. Yes, we believe in the supernatural. Yes, we believe God is a healer, but He does give you tools. And He put people here in the earth that you're supposed to be reaching out to for help. So we're going to talk about that tonight. Hey, Sean, thank you so much for jumping on. I appreciate you. I'm going to call you later, too. Um, but anyway, that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. Again, how grief affects your health, your body, undiagnosed PTSD. That's what we're going to be talking about. Real loss versus imagined loss. We're going to be talking about how when you're dealing with, when you are the type of person where you've been a believer for so long, and something like your children, or you lose a loss suddenly like that, it does shake your faith. I mean, You can be deep all you want to. It will make you question. And that's what the scriptures is in place for. When in the scripture it says that, Lord, help my unbelief because I believe. You'll get to a point where that thing will rock your core, it'll rock your foundation, it'll make you question if it's a God or not. You'll be angry. And a lot of times in the Christendom, I like to say, or in as believers, it's like we're forbidden to be honest about that. But God can handle our honesty. It's the people that can't. He's big enough for that. Now, this video tonight is not necessarily aimed to please anybody who's watching who may not agree with that. It's more to help people get from one stage to the next, to transition while we're here from one stage to the next for proper healing. So anyway, with that being said, we need to be informed by reading or talking or joining a support group. A lot of things that are happening in your mind, you don't understand it. I don't understand it. And you have to read up on things. Yes, we need to go make sure we join these virtual services for edification and coming together with the body to have strength. But we also need to read and apply. We need to learn how to have application as well. And that's what I think we're going wrong a lot of times. We're over spiritualizing things. And we wait for God to do just come and just magically or just bless it off us. No, you really have to do the work. And I know it seemed like it's unfair to God, we got to do the work and we lost our children. But yeah, you still got to do the work. You have to participate in your own healing. That's why I wanted to come on here tonight so that we could talk about this together and be honest. Post your questions. If you have a question here in the comment section below, if I say something you need for me to go back, I don't mind, because I know how I'm feeling and any little help that I could get, or I want it. So I'm assuming that you may possibly feel the same way. So with that being said, we're going to talk about undiagnosed PTSD. A lot of us, if you're getting to the point where when you're driving in your car and you're losing focus, or especially during this pandemic time, if you haven't lost a child but you've lost someone close to you, just lost period, and you're not focusing at work, you're off of one thing onto another, you're busy, you're going nowhere fast, and it's been going on for several months, and you're feeling like you're on a roller coaster and you're off and on. You're like this. It's just one day you're great, one day you're not, 1 hour you great, the next hour you not. That's trauma. And so you may need to seek professional help or talk to somebody. The best thing you can possibly do is expose that. A lot of times we get in shame, especially if we feel like we might need professional help. We try to handle it ourselves and again over spiritualize and say, I got faith, God is going to do it. And he is. And sometimes he does it with professional people that can help you. That goes hand in hand so you can get complete healing. We're also going to talk tonight about artificial healing. And what that is just, let me make sure I wrote some notes down because I didn't want to just get on here and be just rambling. But we're going to talk about artificial coping mechanisms. And what that is say you have a relationship in your life that you have been literally using as a crutch to get through these emotional ups and downs. And what it is it's kind of, let me see, how can I explain this? You're finding yourself needing that person or that thing that is helping you to get to the next day, morning, noon, and night. It's almost like an addiction, almost. You can't do without them, that particular person or that particular thing, whatever it is. It could be anything, but you find yourself gravitating to it all the time just to get through the day. That's an artificial coping mechanism, because what's happening is you're covering up. You're able to mask what you're really feeling because you're using that as a crutch. Now, the thing with that is we get afraid to really leave the crutch because we're limping. Don't be nervous about the limp. Don't be nervous about the fact that you're not walking like you used to. You have literally had spiritual limbs yanked out from underneath you. For me, I'll say, for example, with me, with us losing our sons, that's a sudden loss. I'm not the same. I don't move the same. I am limping. But I had to come to terms and realize I had a lot of artificial coping mechanisms in my life. That's why I feel like the wind is being knocked out of me right now, because I'm literally now in it. I'm in it. I don't have any more artificial coping mechanisms. I'm actually having to deal with this thing head on. And a lot of you, that's a fear. That's a fear to have to put down your whatever that thing is that you're using as a crutch to get through the days. It's gonna come a point in time, and we're all in different phases and stages, but it's gonna come a point in time where you're gonna have to put the crutch up or put the crutches away and walk. Yes, it don't look the same, and you might not like how it feels, and you might not like the fact that you are limping, but remember, nevertheless, you are moving. You're going forward. Your walk won't look the same. It never will again. But as long as you're using those artificial coping mechanisms, you're never going to get to the divine place of healing where you need to be. It's no cure. You're never going to be the same, but you can be better than what you are now. So whatever that relationship is, whatever that thing that you're using to mask or numb the feeling, numb the pain, it could be alcohol, it could be sex, it could be drugs, it could be just watching TV excessively, anything that you're doing excessively to numb or so you won't have to heal, so you won't have to deal with it, then that's an artificial coping mechanism. And when you take it away, it feels like you're gonna die, like you can't take it, because that thing has been numbing whatever you're running away from, grief for so long, running, as far as the pain for so long. So artificial coping mechanisms don't lead to true healing. It only leads to delayed healing. Again, it's you're not gonna ever be the same. I don't know what this thing is where it's a cure, it's divine healing, and God gonna supernaturally. That's not true. You have lost your child. You will never be the same again. This is the new normal, and you have to learn how to get to live with the new normal. And if you have anything that you're masking to get through this, it's going to come a day where you're going to put it down. You're going to have to put it down if you want to truly live in the new normal as things are right now. Now, that is different for everybody. We're all in different phases and different stages of this thing, especially in a pandemic where you've lost other loved ones besides your children, or you lost parents or grandparents or things of that nature. Those are triggers as well. When you is nothing to me, it's nothing like losing your own flesh and blood that you carried for 9 months and don't have it anymore. So I can honestly say those other losses are triggers to you actually losing your child too. So now what's happening is you have compounding loss. You have compounding on top of each other. Now you're feeling out of control. Now you're feeling like, I don't know what to do. I'm going to pick up a drink. I'm going to smoke. I'm going to have lots of sex, or whatever the case might be, so that you can numb this pain. Or I'm going to follow my spouse around the house constantly. What's happening is everything is becoming where it's getting smothering, and you're using these relationships and other things to kind of get around it. And that's normal. It's normal to be in this phase, but it's not normal to live there forever. It's normal to be where you are. It's normal to not trust God when you feel like, well, the very God that I trust, and especially if you had a very grounded relationship with God, it's hard to trust him again when you blame him at the same time, because he's sovereign and he could have stopped this thing. I get that. I've been there, and I get there now. So you're not by yourself. I just wanted to make sure that we cover all of this different stuff on tonight. I was kind of skeptical about doing this live in the first place, because these are very hard topics to talk about it, but people need to understand that this thing is real, and it's hard, and you hear things like you have other children left, or you should have been over it by now. You have to stay away from stuff like that, because it'll set you back. And sometimes out of ignorance, people just don't know what to say. They're just trying to be kind. It don't necessarily mean to be hurting you, but it is hurting you. And you have to know how to separate yourself. So again, get to a place and just pray and ask God to help you release the artificial coping mechanisms that you're using, because it's just gonna delay your healing. I'm not saying it's gonna be easy. It's gonna hurt like hell. It's gonna be hard. It really is. I don't want to sugarcoat anything because I'm living this every day. So it is very, very hard to dismiss and to let go. And going back to the beginning of this conversation, this video is about being practical as well. You need tips and tools on how to get through this stuff. And some people don't have a relationship with God anymore because they lost their child, and they're very angry. They don't want to talk about it. That don't mean God still don't have a plan for them, and that there's not still hope, and they don't still need to know how to maneuver through. What he'll do is he's still gonna love them regardless. He still loved me when I was there. So he knows you're upset, but you still got to get through life on this side. We're not angels yet. We're still dealing with this thing. We're not without feeling and void of feeling at all. So you need to get in a place where you can expose your feelings and shed light onto them, so that negativity can lose the stronghold that it has on you, and you can be able to start beginning to be receptive if you've gone numb to actually receiving people trying to help you, because this thing will put you in isolation. Also, I wanted to discuss how this affects your body. It disrupts your sleep patterns, so you're not crazy. You'll lose weight. Some of you probably have been to the doctor several times from headaches. You don't know what's going on in your body. And some of you may have lost your children years ago. Some of you lost your children last year. Some of you lost your children last month or 4 or 5 years ago. And you've been going in and out of the doctors, wondering what's wrong. You're having stomach problems. That's a sure sign that it's just simply grief. Grief will kill you. Literally, moms, dads, parents, or aunties and grandmas, whoever raised the child or been in that child's life, you can actually die from heartbreak if you don't get the help that you need. Don't over spiritualize this. Yes, we do believe in God, but he's not going to supernaturally, not that he can't, because he can do anything, come and just zap this pain from you like that. You got to go and get the help that you need. And sometimes people have a tendency, especially certain people of faith, to say you don't believe or you don't have enough faith to get past this. You'll never get past it. You'll never get over it. You learn to live around it. So you need a break to breathe and be honest, with where you are when dealing with loss, especially now, because there's more loss like never before, and everybody's searching for an answer and don't know where to get it. Everybody's hurting and don't know how to stop it. You feel like the God thing, as some people call it, ain't working. This ain't happening. This ain't working. And it's not that. It's just that we're not informed. We don't have the tools that we need. So again, that's where a lot of reading comes in. And because I was like, what's wrong with my body? I'm having these headaches. I'm going in and out of the doctor, and nobody could help me. And I said, God, I don't know. I'm overwhelmed. This is about to take me out. It's a lot. What's wrong? I can't sleep. I'm not really eating right. I don't have a diet anymore. I just feel like I'm just going down. And I picked up a book and I started reading about PTSD and the different things that it does to your breathing pattern and your heart, having heart palpitations and your muscles restrict and feeling like you got arthritis, your joints ache. And it's all due to trauma and stress. But I didn't know that. So because I didn't know, and I was glad to have some type of answer so that I can know there are practical things that I need to do. Now that I know this, I can find my local herb store, because I don't like taking all that medicine. I can find my local herb store. I can get some zinc. I can start taking a multivitamin every day. Just doing different things to build my immune system, because now Corona is here. And most of the time when you've lost children or you're dealing with trauma and grief, it affects your immune system. Really, really bad. It compromises your immune system. And, you can pray and God wants us to be healed, but he got all this information and technology and knowledge out here for us to have and read. You can Google anything now And those are tools that you can use to get the help that you need. And that's still God healing you. So we got to recondition our mind in the way that we feel and the way that we think about this thing, as far as, I'm just sitting waiting on God. No, you have all these tools out there that you can use to get you the help, to build your immune system, to take your multivitamin, to take zinc, to take emergency, and all this different stuff, and to build yourself up and your immune system up. And once your body start feeling better and you start being informed and reading about how to come against some of this stuff mentally, it's a strategic plan that you have to use and have. It's kind of like the Lord had gave me an analogy about being a fighter. How can you fight and you hadn't studied your opponent? The enemy don't fight fair. He uses your ignorance against you, what you don't know, to compromise your health, your family, your relationships. He like this corona thing with this isolation. Oh man, this is one of the best tactics, or this is one of the biggest tools of the enemy I've ever seen, because now you're by yourself. Now you can't go get the hugs and love that you need from your family and friends that you normally would get to help build you up. You can't feel somebody else's touch like you used to. You can't go hang out or go sit in the atmosphere with your loved ones and friends anymore and feel strengthened by that. You can't do that. You're on your own. So, the illusion, or it's a mirage. You're not alone. The Lord is with you, but it feels like you're alone because you don't have these tangible, artificial coping mechanisms anymore. You can't go and sit and not say anything. Sometimes I used to go to my family member's house or friend's house, and I'll be feeling like I'm dying inside because I'm hurting so much, missing my sons. And nobody knew. Of course, it's always in the back of their mind or your friend's mind what has happened, but life go on. I'm telling y'all, this world keep moving. It keep going round and round. Everybody go on with their life, and you got to deal with this thing every day. And so it gets hard sometimes. And you sitting there, you like, I'm getting detached from everything around me, and nobody knows, but God does know. He does care. He does care. So now, fast forward to where we are now, you can't go back to those places. You have to get the tools. You have to deal with it. It's pushing you. It's forcing you. It don't feel good, but it is for your good. Because what's happening is now the crutches are being demanded of you to give them away, to give it up, let it go, so that you can heal properly. If I choose to walk on crutches all my life, whatever my crutch is, whether it's food, whether it's alcohol, whether it's substance abuse, whether it's drugs, whether it's following your spouse around the house, your significant other, or just doing things with your kids, just so you won't have to heal and deal so you can heal, then I mean it's forcing you, is what I'm saying. It's forcing you to come to a healing. A real healing process. And like I was saying, it don't feel good, but it's going to be for your good, because now that you are by yourself, and now that this right here is exposure in itself, which is a good exposure, because now it's making you think, well, I didn't think of it like that. Now I can pick up a book and get informed about post-traumatic stress syndrome, which is PTSD. I notice I have been overeating, or I was spending a lot of time at friends' houses, or I was doing all these different things to make myself feel better just to get through the next day. But now it's not available. So I have to deal with these feelings. You're going to feel like you're going to fall apart at first. I'm going to tell you that right now. You're going to feel like you can't breathe. It's almost like a detoxing situation. Because that's exactly what it is, because you're letting go of that familiar. You're letting go of those comfort zones in order for you to properly get to a place of being better. I'll say that. I won't say just healing, because you're becoming better. Also, I wanted to talk about the suggestions of the enemy when you're going through this type of loss and this type of thing. And that's where in the beginning of this video I was talking about real loss versus imagined loss. So you can't give in to these lies and suggestions that the enemy is telling you. He don't fight fair. You've already lost your children, or you've lost somebody very close to you, and he's already saying different stuff. He don't care. He'll compound problem on top of problem on top of problem to use it against you. That's what he does. But like I was saying before, you have to study to know opponent who goes into a fight. If you ever watched a boxing match, those fighters didn't just jump into the ring and immediately just went fighting. You best believe they studied their opponent. You can't stay in the ring with this thing because you're already in there by default, so to speak. It wasn't even your fight. You didn't even excuse me, y'all. You didn't even sign up for this, but yet nevertheless you in the fight. Now you can stand there and get beat down, but that don't mean that the bell gonna ring. You still in the fight, so you can choose to pick up some tools and learn your opponent and fight back, or you can still be in the fight and get beat down. The choice is yours, but at the same time, it don't stop it from hurting. No, it's not fair. Yes, I can say this because I stood there for a long time in the fight and got beat down because I didn't have the tools. I didn't even want tools. It is a place where you hurt so bad you can't fight for yourself. And that's where the power of friendship comes in, love, intercession. That's where God has mercy. And that's where people who are praying for you, that's how your hands are continuously boxing in this ring, because you have loved ones that are helping you fight that you can't even see. It's called, that's when the word talks about principalities and these high things. And that's not exactly what it's talking about, but I'm trying to use a metaphor here. That's when I'm not fighting for myself all the time. That's when angels are helping me get to the next round and providing me enough space to heal in those moments to be able to fight for myself, because it come a time where it ain't just mama prayers, daddy prayers, your spouse and friends and churches and loved ones. You got to pray for yourself. You got to learn how to fight back for yourself. Nevertheless, the fight is still going on. So it'll cause you or provoke you to learn what to study your opponent. And like we're getting ready to talk about now, real loss versus imagine loss. The enemy whisper things in your ear at your lowest points, and it sounds just like you. It sounds like you is your own thought, but it's not your thought. It even comes in as if it's your own voice speaking to you, this negative stuff. So don't give in to the suggestions and the lies of the enemy. One of the lies that I was told, and it happened to me recently, and see, he'll come back for a time. After a while, the enemy he'll leave, but he's gonna come back. So while he's gone, you take that downtime. You take that time and learn your opponent. Learn how to fight back. Learn how affirmations. Learn how to take that word and throw it back at him. But until then, if you're too weak, you can't do this, that's when you call on loved ones. That's when you start building yourself up. If you're in that place, if you're not still angry at God, some of you are in a place where a lot of them probably clicked off already because they're hurt and upset. And this is the part they don't want to talk about, because they feel like, well, God did this, and why I'm gonna pray to him, why I'm gonna get tools from him, I'm already down. He can handle that. I might can't, but he can handle that. So with that being said, for those of you that are still watching, and the ones who gonna come back and watch the replay, this is not by accident or coincidence. It's meant for you to see this so that you can understand some of the dynamics of what's happening. You're being informed. This is information for you to use to apply, which is practical, so that you can get the results or the outcome that you need to continue on to get through this journey. Okay, so once again, real loss and imagined loss. All right, and I was about to tell you guys, one of the suggestions or the lies that came to me was everything that I love, I lose because I love it. If I love it hard, I can't have it. And I remember telling my best friend about that, and it hurt so bad. I was like, everything I love, I can't have it, and I don't understand why. Why, if I love it, I lose it? But that's not me saying that to myself. That's the enemy, because he wants me to start living in a place of fear where I can't give pure love, honest, true, authentic love, and I can't receive it either, because love is therapeutic. Love is healing. Real love heals you. It helps you heal. And if I feel like I can't give it because I'm going to lose something, that means it's nothing for me to receive from someone else, even my friends. because I feel like if I get too close to them or I allow them to get too close to me, one of us gonna get hurt. But for those of you, those of you that are watching, love is a risk. It always a little hurt involved, but at the same time, it's so powerful that it's a healing agent at the same time. And if you believe that, if I would have take time to really digest that and believe that lie, anything that comes to me to love me and to help me heal, I'll push it away. I'll sabotage it because I'm afraid if I give in too much and I lose it, it's going to be another loss. It's going to hurt me because I can't deal with loss. Again, no kind of loss. That's why I was saying in the beginning of the video, the least thing that you lose now, it could be a pet. Not saying that pets are not important for you pet lovers, is not what I'm saying. But you can lose a piece of jewelry. You can lose anything. And if you're not careful, if you're in such a broken, devastated place, it'll always trigger, God, that was my favorite pair of earrings. That was my favorite car and I got in a car accident. That was my best friend and I lost my best friend. We're not talking anymore. Whatever it is that you lose, it's a trigger for you. That's when it's really bad. And you need to seek counseling, seek help, because that's where I was going. I was like, if I love it, I'm going to lose it. And I don't want to love nothing else that hard again. And we have two daughters that I still have to love and receive love from and give love to. But I can start withholding a little bit from them because I'm afraid. And it's scary, y'all. It really is. It really is. That don't stop the fear. That don't stop that this thing still affects you. And you still got to live through this. And I know I'm saying a lot. And you're saying, well, Dominique, I don't understand. How do I get from this place to that place? I'm so broken. This stuff hurts so bad. I'm so tired. I'm sick and tired of being tired. Every time you turn around, it's lost. Every time you turn around, this is happening. I can't even turn on the TV because I'm triggered. I'm traumatized. I get it. I know where you are. But again, study your opponent. You can combat those suggestions and those lies from the enemy through the word. You can combat them with positive thinking, with diversion. That's what we call it. In our fellowships with the Hello Again families and parents, we talk a lot about diversion and interrupting those negative thought patterns. And that's what we're talking about now. So if you're just joining, we're talking about how to really talk about loss and grief and being practical and not over spiritualizing stuff, because you can't keep telling people the faith, you don't have enough faith, or you got to trust God. If you ain't never lost a child, you can't say that to me. You don't know what you're talking about. If you never lost a child, if you never been there, it's easy for you to say that when your child's sitting on your bed having a conversation with you. So it's easy. We have to watch the words that we say, and a lot of stuff we do say is out of ignorance, and we're trying to be there and be supportive. But what I often tell them, what I'm learning is, for me, if I want to encourage somebody, if I don't know what to say, then I won't say anything. I'll just say, I love you, and God does. He does. He knows, because that's the truth. Because you can damage people more by saying stuff, trying to be kind, or just trying to conjure up something to say in the moment than you can by not saying nothing at all. That's what I'm learning. So anyway, I didn't mean to get off that. We were talking about real loss and imagined loss. And I was saying that the enemy was suggesting to me, if I love something, I'm going to lose it. If I love it. And that was a blow at me. He wanted to be specific with me. So that's how he works. He wanted to be specific. So I would definitely get the message. If Dominique, if you love it, you're going to lose it. Look what already happened. He say stuff like that, but that's not true. He knows that love is a healing agent. It's therapeutic. God is love. And if the Lord is using my family and friends to love on me and to hug on me and encourage me, if I got this block or this wall up in my mind that if I receive that too much, if I gravitate towards it too much, something going to happen to them, or something going to happen where I'm going to not be able to receive that, then I won't go towards it. See, that's a lie. And it's a game that he plays with your mind so that you won't fully be equipped to get what you need from God. God uses people. And right now, if you're watching this is what's happening. You're being informed once again, and he's using me to be an instrument to give you the information, even in my brokenness, even in my hurt. a boomerang effect. I'm giving out, but at the same time, I'm hearing it back in my own ears, what I'm saying to you, and it's penetrating my own heart and my own hurt. God, that's how he works. Even when I don't understand him, even when I can't track him, I can't trace him, I'm mad. I don't want anything to do with him in this moment because he could have done something. It doesn't matter. He can handle all of that. And like I said earlier in the video, people can't. They might like, how can you say that? That's blasphemy. Or I wouldn't say that if I was you. Well, you ain't me. And I'm me. And this is how he uses me and how he gets me to understand. So that's how I'm able to stand flat-footed in moments when I'm tired, when I'm weak, because he does use the friends and the family to come back and build me up, and me doing a video such as this to be able to hear myself when it's really not me, it's him speaking, so that I can hear it and be delivered myself. So with that being said, it with real loss versus imagined loss, when you're afraid of losing anything that threatens your quality of life, it's a downward spiral from there, because this whole thing is set up for you to give and once again and to receive. And this type of trauma that you deal with when you've lost someone, when you've lost your children, and we're still speaking in general too because of the pandemic, because there's so much loss that's taking place. When you're dealing with trauma like that, it's so much. It's so much. And it reminds you of the past. It reminds you of so much hurt and so much stuff that you go through. So if you can stay constantly triggered, you will always stay depressed. You'll always stay down. So that's one of his tactics. Real loss is, yes, it's real. We lost our sons. That's real. Now imagine loss is, okay, I have a job and you have a job. Now the thoughts are coming. What if I lose my job? We're in the middle of a pandemic. I ain't really sleeping. I'm not really functional at work. I'm not performing like I normally perform, because now I done lost focus. Because when you're dealing with trauma and you having these artificial coping mechanisms like we were talking about in the middle of this video, these crutches that we're using to mask and numb the pain that we're feeling, because we don't really want to sit. We don't want to deal and heal and really deal with these big elephants in the room. I don't want to sit and deal with the fact of the thoughts of me that, we lost our children. I lost my sons. We lost our children. I don't want to think about that. I don't want to think about the day at the beach. I don't want to think about none of that. I don't want to think about we have 2 daughters and something happening. All that makes me think about that. So guess what? If I'm not healing properly, I'm going back to that artificial coping mechanism, those crutches again. Use your imagination. Whatever your crutch is, if I'm a wine drinker, or I'm heavily under the influence because I drink alcohol all the time because I'm trying to mask this pain, guess what now? If I'm not healing properly, if I keep using those artificial coping mechanisms, which is drinking, which is substance abuse, which is going shopping. I'm a shopaholic now. Or I got to go from the time I wake up in the morning to the time I go to bed, tire myself out and do it all over again. Those are artificial coping mechanisms. They're not going to help you at all. You're going to still have to face it one day. So use your imagination. These are crutches. So you don't like the way it feels if you ever had a cast on your, and I know I'm bouncing around, but I'm going somewhere. If you ever had a cast on your leg, I had a cast on my leg. And when they first take it off, your leg is so skinny than the other one. And they say stand up and walk. And you limping, it don't feel the same. It feel funny, your leg feel funny, it feel like it's asleep. And I still felt like when they took that cast off that I needed it. Y'all might need to put this back on. It feel like I can't really walk. But the doctor was like, no, you're fine. I kept saying, are you sure? He said, no, you're fine. You can walk. But that fear was there because I was walking, but it wasn't the same walk. It wasn't stride. It wasn't the stride that I was used to. I had a little limp. My leg was skinny than the other leg. It wasn't right. But all I could see was it ain't right. It ain't like it used to be, so I still need a cast. No, you're walking. Nevertheless, you're walking. Continue to walk. Continue to move forward in the thing. You might be limping. You might don't have a stride, but you're moving. That's the point. You're moving forward. You're moving forward. But you got to take that cast off. You got to put the crutches up so that you can get your stride back. It won't be the stride you had before. You may have a limp, like I keep saying. It may never feel like it used to feel. And guess what? If you lost your children, it won't again. You're going to have to keep moving forward. But I guarantee you're going to begin to be strengthened in that weak limb. You're gonna it is never gonna be the same, but you're gonna move, but you're gonna move differently. You're gonna be strengthened, but you're gonna be strengthened differently. It's gonna be different, but you're moving forward. Don't let the illusion, because you're not moving how you used to move, and you're not striding or gliding how you used to, that this thing is still not quite right. This is where you are. This is the new normal. And you gotta put those crutches down, that cane down, the walker down, anything you're using for assistance. You have to let that go. And you have to learn to trust God again. And that's a process in itself. But don't be over spiritual. If you're not there, you're not there. But you got to put the artificial coping mechanisms away and get out. Start applying those things that really going to be beneficial. No, I don't want to sit and deal with it. No, I don't want to admit I'm not sleeping at night. No, but I got to stop being a shopaholic and face it. I got to stop using drugs and face it. I can't sex this away. You got to really be still and say, God, this is it. I'm here. I'm facing it. I'm thinking about it. I'm seeing my children. I remember this. But then the happy moments will come in and make you smile and get through. That's normal process of healing. You gotta participate in your own healing. And in my book, Hello Again, The Other Side of the Rainbow, we have practical tools in that book. I have practical tools in that book on what to do, how to do this. If you're dealing with any type of loss, the book is about resilience. It's about perseverance. It's about, I'm hurt. And in this world, you're going to be hurt. It's going to make you cry bad. This world is not easy to live in. It ain't fair. I wish I was 7 again and I can go home and just lay down and not knowing how this thing works. But that's not where we are. That's not reality. We have to get into reality, into the real world. And you even have to tell God, God, I believe, but help my unbelief. That scripture's in place for a reason, because sometimes it's going to get to a time, God real, He exists, but that don't mean you want to deal with Him right now. That don't mean I'm rocking the same with God like I used to, because I feel like He afflicted me. I know we're in a bad world. Bad things happen to good people. That's just the truth. That's just how this thing goes. But at the same time, God wants to heal. But like I said, everybody not in a place where they want to talk about Him in this moment, when you just feel like you've been just torn to pieces. And it's a passage that I'm going to read that I think will be beneficial for you guys after we talk about real loss versus imagined loss. And again, real loss is evident. For example, me, I've lost my children. Imagined loss is I'm working on my job. Now I'm scared I'm going to lose my job because we got a pandemic. Now I'm scared I'm going to lose my daughters that I have because I've lost sons before. It's like everything feel like it's fleeting. It's going to get away from me. But the truth be told, we all have our day that's written where we are going to live. Leave. But who knows when that would be? That imagined loss is designed to have you living in a constant fear where you can't give or receive and enjoy life. That's not a quality of life. So I wanted to make sure that I talk about this and teach you guys what I've learned so far about diversion and interrupting those negative thoughts with something different, despite how hard. Going and talking to a psychotherapy, a grief counselor, your pastor if you don't trust, those type tools, but they've helped me to be honest with where you at. You tell these people you falling apart. My life is falling apart. I have other children. I can't be a mom to them right now because I don't know how. I'm scared to love them because I'm scared something's going to happen to them. I don't know how to have a conversation, to be honest, with my feelings no more. I don't know how to sit and just think and be, because I don't know what's real and what's fake no more. I don't know. I depended on a real God that let a big thing happen to me. Now I'm stuck. I don't know how to live in this world. I don't know if I even want to. You have to get to these places where you're honest about where you at, no matter what you're dealing with. Because as long as you're masking it with alcohol or whatever, shopping, calling somebody from 8 o'clock in the morning to 2 o'clock in the afternoon every day to get through it, that's not going to help you. It'll help you get But anyway, it'll help you get through it for a little while. But you don't want nothing that's going to get you through something for a little while. You want something that's going to be a lasting. Um, and this is hard. It really is hard. And before I go, there is a passage that I wanted to share with you with the book that I'm reading, and it's called Caring for People God's Way. Oh, my mic. She said, check my mic. Hang on, let's see. Can you hear me now? Can y'all hear me? Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. Okay, thank you, Kay. Thank you. Okay, so anyway, like I was saying, thank you, Miss Marcella. Thank you guys so much. And please put your comments below if you have a question. Thank you, TT, for letting me know as well, so that we can kind of address that before I get off here. But it is a passage that I keep saying that I want to read to you guys. But again, I wanted to say, go ahead and wrestle with your thoughts. Go ahead and wrestle with God with this. Go ahead. Go ahead. It's a place of honesty. It's a place where he gonna meet you right where you at. But go ahead and wrestle with it. I'm telling you, he ain't big enough to handle this for you. He can. You can't. That's why you're doing all this other stuff. That's why you're not informed. That's why you hadn't studied your opponent. Because it does take time. And sometimes we don't want to take the time because it takes too long. Who likes the process? I have not met a human being yet that say they like process. The first thing most people say when you meet them, or most of your friends say, or your family members say, is, how long this gonna take? I know I do. How long this gonna take? Because if this gonna take longer than the time I want to give, I don't want to participate in that. Process take too long. God take too long. And I just want to give me the fastest route I can go, because I ain't got no patience for this. We don't even have patience to deal with being healed, to want to, because it does take time. It takes time. And we don't want to do it. So that's just it. I don't care what bishop say, what your bishop say, who pastor say what. Nobody likes the process. Nobody. Nobody now wants to admit, I don't trust God. It's so much going on. Where he at? You know, you have those type thoughts, and nobody want to talk about it because it make it seem like you shallow, or you don't have faith, or you getting dismissed, or you ain't holy no more. That's not true. God know us. He know us. We're human. Now, my faith can lead me into this supernatural experience, yes, but we ain't always supernatural, and we don't always want to go on the experience. I don't feel holy all the time, especially when you wounded and you limping and you don't understand. One thing we have to deal with too, when you're dealing with loss like this, or losing family members, we have to deal with acceptance. It has to come a point in time where we have to accept some stuff. And as humans, we don't want to. I don't want to accept that this has happened, but I have to accept it, and accept the fact that God may never tell me on this side why. He may never explain this to me. I will never know until I get to the other side. I have to accept that. And acceptance is not no one-time thing. I have to accept this every single day that I wake up. I got to choose to participate in my own healing. I have to accept that my children ain't ever coming back. I have to accept that my loved ones ain't coming back. I have to accept that friends gonna turn away from me, or I might turn away from them. I might injure you. You might injure me. But guess what? Love is a risk. Real love is a risk. And real love, the experience that it provides at the same time, is healing, is therapeutic. So we can't get into this thing of fear where we don't want to give or receive because of it, but we do, because we're in trauma. So how do you release yourself from trauma? How do you open yourself up emotionally to have relationships with people? We're relational. God designed us to be relational. And because we're relational, we need each other. And because everybody didn't grow up the same way. Some people got trust issues because they were molested. Some people got trust issues because they were abandoned by the very person that's supposed to love them the most, their parents, their daddies, especially women. You got daddy issues. We got mama issues. We got a whole lot of issues, but yet you expect me to be this divine Christian and still be able to stand up straight and tall and tell people that I love them? Really, God? You expect a whole lot from me? See, now that's how you talk to God. That's how I talk to God. That's how you're real with him. Yes, you get angry. You don't understand why all this happened to me to get me to here, and I'm still tore up and I'm still broken. This is the stuff that we need to address in the church. This is stuff that we need to address that you don't understand, and it affects my relationship with God. It affects my spirituality. It affects my salvation. I'm trying to sex it away, sleep it away, drink it away, shop it away, ride around all day, call people and just to chit chat because I don't know what else to do. Nobody teaches us how to be practical anymore. All you is giving me the word, telling me to operate out of it, and I don't know how. So then you're stuck with issues and other stuff like this. You don't know how to move from the trauma. Tell me what to do. So this video is designed to tell you you need to be informed. You can read something other than the Bible to get informed. That's why they're there. This book right here is saving my life. It's saving my mind because I'm putting this book with the word and with prayer and the times I don't want to pray, all that together for my healing. I'm trying to go somewhere and it's not easy. I cry along the way. I limp along the way. I'm snotting. I got tears. I'm calling my friends saying I'm struggling. But you gotta do it. You gotta reach out and say these things. You're imploding because you won't release. You won't let it go. You won't talk about it. It hurt too bad to go back to when I was 7 years old and stuff started here where I can't comprehend now and I don't know how to problem solve now because I was taught to suppress my feelings. I was taught that you don't supposed to question God. I was taught that you don't supposed to say things like this. So I did it the best way I could. I fought my way through high school. I got in battles and relationships. I'm not functional anymore. I don't know how to be a wife. I don't know how to be a husband. I don't even know how to be a friend because so much has happened along the way that's compounded on top of this, on top of that. But I'm expected to be a model citizen. Nobody talks about this. Nobody talk about it anymore. And it's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot. And let alone losing children. Oh, this takes my breath away. Every day I have to choose to get up and be functional and be nice and be courteous and be a mother to my daughters and still be all these different things. And it's not me doing it. I know it ain't me. I should have fell apart a long time ago, but I'm still moving and it's hard and it is. And sometimes we have to get to the place where we have to take a time out. Take a time out and go sit down and have self-care. Somebody asks you a question like me, man, I'm running a whole organization of parents and families who've lost children all over in different states now. I have people reaching out all the time. Can you help me? I'm depressed. Can you do this or that or the third? My sister is dealing with this or that. And you know what? I have to be honest sometimes and say, I don't know. Don't get too spiritual, too overly like a super saint. I ain't a super saint. I'm not Jesus Jr. I don't know. And the best thing you can ever tell people sometimes is, I don't know, but we can get through it together. We can come up with a solution together. That's the best thing you can ever do. Stop trying to come up with stuff when you don't know. Just say you don't know. That's it. And the best healing, the best image, the best reflection you can ever show other people is you. Transparency. When you say you don't know, that helps sometimes because it make them feel like, well, shoot, I ain't stupid. I don't know either. And they're willing to say, I don't know, and we can get through this together. That's the perfect answer sometimes. Sometimes if I say I don't know, and now I can't go and embrace them, but I used to. I'd drive all the way to your house. I didn't care where you were. If I heard you just lost a child and you invite me, you want me to come, I'm coming to embrace you because I know what that feels like. I know what you're going to have to deal with the next day when you wake up and your kids ain't there. I knew what that felt like when I went home for the first time, the next day, the next week after the accident, and walked in our house for the first time, and my children not there, and they ain't coming back, and walked in their room, and they stuff there. I know what that feel like, so I can sit with you in that, and don't say nothing, and you can read my heart, because we sinking now, we sinking. I'm being transparent, telling you I don't know, you don't know. We both wanting the same thing, but you got to get to a place where we need to start being real with ourselves so we can be real with other people. That's the point I'm trying to make. And I know I may have gotten off, but we still talking about real talk about trauma and grief, because all this is traumatic. All of this is grief. You do need to be informed. You do need to talk to somebody and be honest about where you at. I don't care how far you've gone down. I don't care if you smoke weed every day, all day. Guess what? That ain't gonna stop God from loving you. That is not going to exempt you from anything with your relationship with God. We need to get to know who he really is. Besides being so deep and speaking in tongues, you speak in tongues all you want to and still not be informed. Still don't know what you're talking about. Because even when we speak in tongues, we don't even know what we're talking about. The Lord interprets that. So we need to stop overly spiritualizing stuff and really be practical and really tell the truth. I'm not down in speaking in tongues. I have a prayer language myself. It's powerful. It is. But it ain't going to do me no good if I don't learn to understand where it's coming from. And with that, that's a process. You still got to read. Still got to be informed. All of that goes back to the same thing we originally started talking about in the beginning of this video. So, I wanted to say this before I get off here about this passage that I wanted to read to you guys. Basically saying, talking about your thoughts, talking about when you feel low, talking about wrestling with God with your thoughts and your healing process. And it's okay to bounce back and forth in your thoughts about your beliefs and asking God to help your unbelief. It don't negate the status of who you are in God. It don't exempt your salvation. You revolt now. Because now I got an opinion. Now I'm mad. Now I'm going through all this stuff. So God got a stamp by his desk and saying you revolt because you talking back. We don't serve a God like that. He understand. He want to hear that. He want to hear what you got to say. He love you the more. The lower you get, he can go right there with you. I promise you that. So it's okay. You know what? It doesn't revoke your status in God. It doesn't delete your salvation. You still saved. Guess what? You still saved. You still a believer with all that. You still, that's the beauty of God. That's what we need to really talk about now. That's the beauty of God. You still saved. You know what that means, though? At the end of the day, it means you human. That's all. It don't change anything. It don't exempt you from heaven. You ain't going to hell because you feel these things. You're going to, if anything, you're going to go because you won't acknowledge it. You won't heal. Now you're bitter. Now you're angry. Now you're mad. And now you don't want nothing to do with God. And you renounce him and the things of him all the way to the end of your life. That's what the enemy don't want you to realize. So what keeps me holding on is I keep in mind of the fact that I want my heart, my soul, and my spirit to stay in alignment the best way I can, because I want to see my children again. I want to see God, and I want to see my children again. Bad, bad, bad. So I want to make sure I stay here. That's not always easy. It's not always easy to get your mind in alignment with your spirit and your heart. It's hard to do, but it can be done. God give you the tools, again, to be informed, to be strengthened, to be practical, to apply so you can get results, which is called manifestation in your life. So, right, it's not going to stop the pain. It's not. You're still going to hurt. It's still going to hurt. Don't hurt like hell. You just got to find different ways of when it do hurt, not to resort to the wrong thing. And I can't even sit here and tell you that gonna be easy, because it ain't. And sometimes you will still resort to the wrong thing. It's not no overnight cure. It's never no cure. It's no cure, period. And that's, don't exempt you. You repent, dust yourself off. I'm hurting. Now, I ain't saying using it as an excuse or a card to have a license to deliberately go out and just act the fool. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that there is a fine line, and it's not easy. Trauma is real, and we need to be honest with where we are and teach people how to apply these different things and get the help that they need so that they can become better, not cured, because you're not going to be cured. You still going to hurt. It's no solution to this. I ain't no antidote, but you got to keep moving forward. That's it. You just got to keep moving forward. So, with that being said, I'm going to go over this quick passage before we get off here. And it really hit home for me. And it simply says, the more intimate our relationship with God is, the more betrayed we feel by the one who was supposed to intervene in our hour of need. Lazarus, sister of Mary, is an excellent example. It says she was angry at Jesus when he failed to prevent her brother's death. If you had been here, she admonished, my brother would not have died. We assume that Mary's first trust in Jesus had definitely diminished. And it says trust is one of two aspects of faith. Faith is compromise of trusting God and believing what he has said. With this in mind, we need to remind ourselves that our understanding is limited to an earthly perspective. Death makes us feel small, vulnerable, insecure. We come face to face with the fact of our own mortality, that death may just as easily and as soon take us as well. Grieving the death of a loved one challenges us to our very core to believe and trust that God's eternal perspective is better, even far superior than our own, and we wrestle with the holes in our knowledge of the future. And it also gives us a scripture. It says Psalms 130:5 tells us, I wait for the Lord, my soul waits, in his word I put my hope. And it says it's hard to trust and believe in God, to take his word as he surely has promised, trying to will ourselves to believe that it doesn't work. This book is incredible. Like I said, it's really helping me. I had to find a lot of different stuff to read to keep my mind at bay, to keep me, pressing forward. And sometimes, honestly, I don't want to do anything. I don't want to read. I don't want to do anything. That thing hurts. It hurts so bad it knock you off your feet some days. You have tears that you ain't never, so hot on your face. I don't know if y'all ever had hot tears before, but I have recently. It feel like it's stinging. And all grief is love with no place to go. That's it. I always say, what, God, I got this love in me for my sons. And the love I got for my daughters, that's for them, it's for the girls. But what do I do with this thing that's in the middle of my chest that's balled up that I want to give to a boy, 2 boys? My boy's not here to receive that. They don't need the same things from me anymore that they used to. I can't give them anything. All I can give God is my worship. And at the same time, I'm worshiping, knowing in my heart that they're worshiping too. That's the only thing I can do with my sons right now. And I put that in the book in the last chapter. The only thing I can do with my sons right now is to worship. Because that's the thing we can do simultaneously. If I begin to worship the Lord right now, guess what? In heaven, that's what they're doing all day. So that's one thing I can do with them. I can commune with them. I can fellowship with them in my worship. But I ain't in worship mode all the time. I just want them here with me. And I know that might be selfish, but sometimes I'm selfish in that. And it's okay. I miss my children, and it gets hard. And I'm wondering, what do I do with this love? I don't have no little boys that live near me that I could talk to. Ain't nobody now letting you talk to their kids in the kind of way. They teenagers. I can't just go and just be staring at people's kids without looking like I'm a creeper. So I'm like, what do I do with this feeling? What do I do with this that I want to give to them and I can't? That's when it backs up and it turns to grief and it hurt because it's bottled up with nowhere to go. That's when I love on my daughters a little harder and I hug them a little more and I stare at them and I look at them and I can see my aunt and my keys in both of them at certain times. And then sometimes I get to the point where it's like, I appreciate it, God, but I don't care about that today either. I just want my sons back. I want all 4 of them again sitting on the couch and playing games like they used to and making noises and throwing paper across the house like they used to. But guess what? I have to accept every day that that's not going to ever happen again on this side. So that's why if you have children and your children are still here, don't sweat small stuff. If they left stuff in the floor, so what? It'll be okay. Talk to them, but don't sweat it. I wish I could be like that again, but this is where I am. This is my reality. This is your reality if you've lost a child. So I want to take some time to come on here, let you guys know about undiagnosed PTSD. Go to talk to somebody. Go see a counselor. Go see a doctor. You could have post-traumatic stress syndrome. You so traumatized. You going through so much in your mind and in your space. You can't function. You can't focus. I done been at several red lights. And the light done turned green a long time ago and done turned red again 2 more times because I'm losing focus. Now I know I need to park the car because I'm dealing with a traumatic situation. I don't care if it's almost 5 years ago. Them kids was in your body. You raised them. They came from you. That is traumatic forever. And you have to learn how to pace yourself and deal with that type of loss when you've lost someone that you love, not just someone, your children especially. And be honest, you may have PTSD. You have to be informed by reading. You have to know your opponent. The enemy don't fight fair. You're in a fight. You're in the fight for your life. You in a boxing ring. What person gets into the ring? What boxers got into the ring? You seen HBO specials and they didn't study their opponent. We're the only ones as Christian people or godly people period, who don't study their opponent like they're supposed to, but expect to win the fight. Yes, Jesus paid it all. He won it. But while you in this earth, in this human body, it's some stuff you got to do as well. So you need to learn your opponent. Learn the sounds of the enemy when it's not God. Like I shared with y'all earlier in this video, and I was talking about the whispers, the suggestions of the enemy, real loss versus imagined loss. And I was talking about how the enemy always bring up that same line because he know it knocks me to my knees. See, he studied me. He know my weakness. I didn't study him like I supposed to know when he's coming. So when he told me, if I love it, if Dominique love it, he was specific, if you love it, you're going to lose it. So that started affecting my relationships with other people. I didn't want to love as hard as I normally do. I didn't want to give love, and I didn't want to really receive it because I'm scared if I love it too much, I'm going to lose it, whatever that relationship might be. And yes, we're still talking about the same thing. I'm just doing a quick recap before we get off for those that are just joining. So that was under the category of real loss versus imagined loss. And then that in turn would trickle down to the imaginary loss, where I've lost something that was valuable to me, my children. So now years later, I'm working, I'm loving my job, I'm loving what I'm doing, whatever that is. Now all of a sudden fear is coming upon me because we're in a pandemic and so much other stuff, people losing their jobs all the time. This hadn't even happened yet. So that's imaginary loss. I'm fearing something that ain't even happened. My job, my employer is not even telling me my performance not good, but it's in my head. I'm loving this, so I might lose it. So that's an imaginary loss. That's more compounded. So the enemy compounds issues on top of issues on top of issues to make you faint in your mind. So now you're still dealing with trauma. Then you're dealing with trauma that trauma that's packed down from when you were younger, or when stuff that you were going through. And what I like to call that is a time release capsule. When you right at the brink, when you right there at your breakthrough, he released this time release capsule. He'll bring something way back from when you were 7 and 12 and 15 years old to knock you off your feet, on top of all this new stuff that you're dealing with, to get you off course. He don't fight fair, but guess what? He knows us. We are his opponents. We don't know him like we should, so we're fainting and feeling in our mind because we don't know how to use these tools. That's what this video is about. Learning these. This is a practical tool I'm giving you, and it's called diverting those thoughts, replacing it with another thought, a positive thought, replacing it with scripture. If you're there, if you can, replacing it with something positive. If I count to 10 right now and somebody starts singing Mary Had a Little Lamb, guess what's going to happen? It's going to interrupt my thought. It's going to interrupt me counting from 10 because now I'm focusing on Mary Had a Little Lamb song that you interrupted the pattern with. That's what he does. Now you got to flip it. You got to interrupt his pattern. He starts saying Mary Had a Little Lamb, whatever he's saying, you say the blood of Jesus. Through all things I can do. I can do things through all things. I can do it through Christ who strengthens me. That's what you do. You take scripture. You give him back. Punch him back. Punch him back. He's an opponent. You got to fight back. These are tools that you can use to fight back with. So last but not least, I was talking about that doesn't negate your feelings, your emotions, what you're feeling, the negative stuff you're feeling, the anger that you're feeling does not change the fact that you're still saved. It just simply declares that you're human. So don't think it because you're feeling it. Don't think because you took a drink because you was traumatized or you was going through or you did all these things that exempts you. No, you repent, do it again, go back again, begin again. It's never too late. God still has a plan for your life, whether you're mad at him or not. There's still room at the cross until you leave here. And I encourage you to try to use these tools, be practical, be informed, get other reading materials, combine it with the Bible. Call your family, friends, over the phone, FaceTime, whatever you got to do, because we can't go in their presence to receive that love and to give that love, because it's therapeutic, it's real, it's not an artificial coping mechanism. You're using that to help with your becoming better process, because there's no cure for this. It's traumatic. So I wanted to recap. I'm big on that. For those that were just joining, was like, what are y'all talking about? Hopefully this video has helped. Right, kid, you got to combat those thoughts. This video has helped. Watch the replay over and over again. I'm going to watch the replay, because it's going to come a time, like I feel today and weeks prior, where I'm going to need to hear me say that again. Say all of this stuff again to help me and penetrate my own heart. So if you think this video is helpful, or you found it helpful, like and share it with a friend. If you know somebody who's lost a child, please share it with them. If you're looking for some good material to read, I wrote a book. It's called Hello Again, The Other Side of the Rainbow. You can find it on Amazon. Get that book for yourself. Get it for a friend or family member. Again, it's Hello Again, The Other Side of the Rainbow. Thank you guys so much for joining me during this live. I appreciate your patience. I just wanted to come on here. Hopefully this was beneficial and it helped you. Because it was a struggle definitely for me to make up my mind whether I wanted to do it or not. So I pray it was beneficial, and please excuse the interruptions in the middle of the video. My phone started ringing. So whatever, I expect something. It was a little adversity, but the process got interrupted by something positive, as you can see. So thank you guys so much for taking the time to join on tonight. I love you. I love you guys. I was about to say I love you, Lord. I say that so much. I love you guys. Watch it again if you need to. Thank you guys so much for watching this about grief and loss. Please watch this again if you need to help you. Because like I said, acceptance, you got to accept that your children are never coming back, or somebody that you lost every day. You got to participate in your own healing every day. You got to forgive every day. It ain't no one-time shot. This is a journey, and you got to do this every single day to get to the next day. So put down those artificial coping mechanisms. And if you don't know what that is, you got to go back and watch the replay so you can understand exactly what I just said. So with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. Be blessed. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it, because you definitely can't get it back. So I appreciate it. I love you guys. And if you need us, if you've lost a child, please send an invite somebody to be a part of Hello Again here on Facebook. We also have Hello Again 2 for people who haven't lost children but want to know what are we doing in the community, or keep up with what's going on with Hello Again and other things that we have our hands involved in. Go join the Hello Again 2 page. But we want to love on you, help you with our support group. We have our virtual fellowship meetings. We do a lot for our families to help them get through this process, what we're talking about. So thank you guys so much. And don't forget, go to Amazon.com and get Hello Again, The Other Side of the Rainbow. It's very therapeutic. I read it myself several times just to help me. So thank you guys so much, and I'll see you guys later. Have a good night.